So we have seen till now the basic print statement to print the output on the terminal or the screen of Python. So let's look at a few variations of it, which will allow us to handle the variables in the print statement a little better. So what we have done till now is we have done a print statement with hello world, and let's say I want to print the uh, variable x. So let me have a variable called x, and I want to print the value of x is. So one way of doing it is we can typecast it to string and concatenate it. So sorry, make it into x. So we have said the value of x is and typecasted x to a string, which is actually integer. We convert it to string using str and then use a plus operator to concatenate or add these two strings together to give us this value. Mm. So now let's look at another way of handling the same thing. So I can print a value of x is. You can use something called as format strings. So I can say within flower brackets the value an index number 0 and use the keyword format. Okay, and what the format says is inside the format I can pass as arguments whatever values you want to print at each of these corresponding indexes. So index 0 I'll say let the value is 10. So the first variable or number that is passed becomes index 0 number, and we are saying print index 0 here within the flower bracket. So this 0 or this number indicates the value at this position, at 0th position inside this format set of arguments. Fine. So the first argument is 0th argument. So 0th argument is 10, and we're asking to print the 0th argument here. So if you say enter now, so this 10 got printed here. And now if I have one more variable, let's say and y is, I can add a second argument here, and I say 20. So now what happens? 0 argument is 10, first argument is 20. So you will get the output, the value of x is at 0th argument you have 10, at first argument you have 20, which is coming from this format set of strings. So here the order remains the same. First is 0 argument, second is first argument, so on and so forth. But inside the print statement, the order can be changed. So that means I can have uh, it print the first argument before printing the 0th argument. The number is all that is important. Whatever number of index I give here, that corresponding index number value is picked up. So I am saying now instead of 0, I am saying this is 1, and instead of 1 here I am putting 0. So if I say enter now, so at index 1 we have 20, okay, and index 0 we have 10. So we got 20 first and then the value 10. So that's using format strings. Now in the format string, what is also possible is I can use the variable name. Instead of using indexes here, I can say x and y as variable name, and in the format function as arguments I can tell what is x. I can say x is 10, y is 20. Now this format matches this variable name with this variable name. So I'm saying x inside the flower bracket here, it is mapped to this x here, and whatever is assigned to this x, that value gets printed here, and y is assigned a value of 20 here. So whatever is assigned the variable name here, that variable name is picked up from the format set of arguments, and the value is taken from there and replaced at this position. So now you can see the value of x is 10. So instead of this value I am getting this value, which is the value of x, and instead of this value I am getting the value of 20, which is from this y. Again, the argument does not make a difference. I can have the y first and then the x, still will work. Y is equal to 20, you can see here, and x is equal to 10. I got 10 here. So 20 of y came here, 10 of x came here. Right? So that is with respect to format string. Now, the third way of printing the print statement. Now instead of using the format function, you can use prefix the print string with f string, which says again format this string to uh, such that whatever value you are passing inside the flower bracket here, that is taken as a variable. All right. So now if I have a variable called as x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20, and the value of, I'm saying print f indicating a string with some format, the value of x is inside the flower brackets x. So this, because it's inside the flower bracket, this is replaced by the value of the variable, and inside the flower bracket y, it is replaced by the value of the variable y is equal to 20. Alright. So if you remove these flower brackets and just put y, it will become just the literal or the string y. Alright. So the flower bracket makes it such that whatever is inside the flower bracket is treated as a variable, and that corresponding variable's value, whatever you have assigned in the program or in the terminal, that gets picked up and gets replaced here. But remember, putting the f keyword is important here. Without this f keyword, it will not understand the flower bracket. So if I remove f from here now, you can say the value of x is, the x with flower bracket is printed as it is. It's not replaced by a variable value, right? Because we didn't put the value, the keyword or the key letter F before the double quotes. Okay, so these are different ways you can print output in a Python program or a terminal. Now let's look at how to take input. Now to take input, you have a standard function called as input. So variable name is equal to input, open bracket, close bracket. So, and if I say enter, now it is waiting for the user to enter something. Whatever user enters, that gets assigned to x. So if I say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I look at the value of x value is 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can note that the variable x is a string variable now. So if you look at the type of variable, it's class string. Similarly, if I take x is equal to input and I say 10.5, say floating point number supposed to be looks like that. If you look at this, it is still class of string. So what you have to remember is the input function takes an argument from the user and converts it into string and assigns it to the variable what is given on the left hand side. Right? So now, but if I want this to be a floating point, not of type string, then you can convert it to uh, floating point by using the type conversion. So I can say float of x becomes 10.5, which is the floating point number, right? Now, if you the shorter way of doing this is while taking the input itself, I can convert it into the corresponding data type I want to use it for. So now, if you look at x 10.5 is floating point number, and we have, that is because we have typecasted input into a floating point number. Right? So this is important to remember, because when you're taking user input from the user, we have to convert it to the respective data type. If I am going to use an integer as an input, I can typecast it to int. So I can say 12. So x becomes 12 as an integer. You can refer to the type of variable x. X is integer now, which would not have been the case if you had only taken x is equal to input. Okay, now if you look at it, it is string now. So without type conversion that we have done here, default input is only string value, even if you enter an integer or a floating point number. You know, you can also print out a message while taking the input. So I can say, please enter a number. So you can see whatever we printed, typed out here, that same value within double quotes comes out as the string here. Okay. So we have said please enter a number here, and that string came out as a string here, printed as it is, followed by the prompt for us to enter something. So whatever we enter, that gets assigned to the variable x, again in the format of string itself. Right? So that's how we take input and print output in Python. Right? So practice this a little, because we will require to take a lot of inputs in the coming programs in the next future set of concepts that we're going to cover. Okay, so make sure that you're clear with the taking input and printing output part. Okay, thank you.